Hello everyone, welcome back to Classic Automotive Services. Right, we've finally got the engine back for the prototype TR8. So we'll have a quick look at that. So it's been rebored. Well, first of all it got acid dipped to remove all the years of gunge and grime, because it was really heavily grimed up inside here, and all the waterways, everything was really heavily grimed up. We've had it rebored as the bores were, well, they were completely knackered. They weren't actually round anymore. We were hoping not to be able to not to rebore it, because on first inspection they actually looked quite good. But when they were measured, and then they put a hone down the board to clean them a little bit, you could actually see how bad they were. So yeah, it's been rebored. It's on plus 20s. It's had new cam bearings fitted. We've got Clearvite cam bearings for it. That's ready now to be cleaned and start checking all the clearances and assembly process. The first thing I've got to do to it is on the back of the block. If I move over, you've got two plugs in the oil gallery, one there and one there. I've got to remove them, and that is a right pain in the arse on a Rover V8. They're extremely tight. I don't know what thread lock they used in the factory, but it's good stuff, and you have to heat them up really hot to get them out, to basically melt the thread lock. They've got to come out so I can make sure the oil galleries are perfectly clean. And on the early engines, you struggle to get the new bungs, so I've got to try and save them. Or if it's a late engine, it's not an issue. They're different, a different thread. Early engines, massive issue. But hopefully we'll get them out and we'll sort that out. We've got the crankshaft back. That's been ground to plus 10s, and all fully rebalanced with the pistons and rods. We'll go on to that in a second. There's the balance sheet. We've got Clearvite performance bearings. They actually come individually boxed. If I grab one. So you get each individual bearing for each con rod, etc. in its individual box. So we've got a complete set of Clearvite bearings. And we've got Hepalite pistons on plus 20. So we've got some brand new Hepalite pistons, and the machine shop fitted them onto the rods for me, as you have to have a special jig to do them. You have to heat up the con rod red hot to be able to fit the gudgeon pin, as they're a clamp, sort of like an interference fit. The con rods have all been cleaned and they've been sized. They were checked initially and then sized, and it's a good job they were checked, as these ones were actually tight. They were quite considerably too tight, which probably didn't help the bearings in the first place. So they've all been sorted out, and let's put that back in there. All right. Then they're all balanced. So when it comes to balancing a V engine, it's very critical, especially if you board it or you're changing your pistons. The rotating assembly has to be rebalanced. As to balance it, what they do is they weigh the piston. They balance all the pistons and rods to start with. Then they weigh the piston and rod assembly with a bearing, etc., and work out a bob weight, which is then attached to the crankshaft to balance the crankshaft. So the balancing was a long way out. It's now perfect. This is the balance sheet for it. I won't go through it all in this video, but we will in later videos. We've got bob weight card. That's the rotational on the crankshaft, and we've got the pistons and con rod balance weights. So that's all the balancing information, which will come in handy for the engine when we've finished building it, because I'll put together a complete engine build sheet and spec sheet for it. So that's the engine. I've got to start now cleaning it, checking all the clearances, as although the machine shop, I trust them to their work, it's still down to the engine builder who I'm building the engine. The liability stops with the engine builder with engine building. So If there's an issue and I don't spot it, there's no point me going back to the machine shop after it's built and it's failed and complain to them because they didn't build the engine. All liability with the engine stops with me, so everything has to be perfect. Hence why everything's got to be checked. The bore to piston clearance, we've already checked. I checked that down at the machine shop with the guys because I haven't got a dial bore gauge indicator. So we checked that before picking it up, and we measured it all so I could verify it was okay. They've done the manifolds for us as well, as one of them had a sheared stud. So they've removed the studs, faced the faces, so they'll seal up nicely. They can now get blasted and sent away for ceramic coating. The front pulley, I've done all that. We've disassembled it, and the actual pulleys were sent away for powder coating, and the harmonic balancer, that's all in good condition, so I cleaned it up and painted it and then reassembled it. So that's the pulley for it. What else have we got? I'll go get these bits. Right, so we've refurbished the sump. We've got lots of pictures of this, as I'm really quite happy with the way it turned out. It had a really hard life and it was absolutely battered. This whole front area here was mangled. So this corner in particular was actually concaved. So quite a bit of time heating it and dressing it back into shape. As the metal was old and it's fatigued, you don't want to go hitting it too hard without any heat and crack it. So that's cleaned, painted, ready to refit. We've got lots of photographs of that we'll put in. We've got the front cover. Again, this took a number of hours to sort out. It's all been cleaned and checked. I made sure the tolerances of the oil pump were all good. All the threads on it have all been tapped out, so it's ready to reassemble. And the inside took a long time to get it that clean. A thick brown sludge everywhere inside it. So that's all done. It did take a bit longer than I thought to do this because one of the water pump bolts, one of the little ones, had actually sheared off, and it hadn't sheared off flat either. It was below the surface, the gasket surface, and it sheared off at an angle, which makes it quite difficult to get it out. So what I ended up doing, I ended up using the old water pump, which is knackered anyway, as a jig. I bolted that on, located on dowels. I then used a drill dead size to the hole on the water pump to go in and just square the stud up. So it very slowly cut the stud and squared it up, and obviously centered it as well, which allowed me to put a tapping size drill through the correct size to then re-tap it in the right place. But again, it all takes time. So we've also got a brand new old stock Cloy's timing gear set for it, as I needed a new chain anyway, and I didn't want to run an original nylon style timing gear on it. They're prone to failing. I don't think they're a good idea, so we've got a nice solid steel set for it, which is a good upgrade. And that upgrade was actually cheaper than replacing the nylon gear itself, so I'm not going to argue with that. We've got new camshaft and followers for it. All the gaskets and oil seals have arrived. New rocker shafts. We've pretty much got everything we need, minus the cylinder heads. They're down at the machine shop at the moment, being skimmed and having valve guides sorted out on them because some of the valve guides were badly worn. So they're at the machine shop at the minute, but I've got everything I need basically to build the bottom end up and start checking all the tolerances, which we will do some detailed videos on what to check and how to check it and what tolerances should be. I'm going to start getting that cleaned up tomorrow and doing the assembly work on it in the week. So we'll get some good videos of that. I think that's all we've got on the TR8 this week. We've been busy over the last couple of days installing a ramp. I managed to pick it up fairly cheap. Hopefully my brother-in-law is going to come in a little while and wire it up for us. So we've got a lift. The Red Stag. I mentioned that we had some part-time help coming in. He's just working his notice at his company's at the moment. His name's Ross. He's going to come in when he finishes working his notice and do a few more days for us here and there and work it around another job that he's got, until we can slowly increase his hours and eventually take him on full time. So when he's finished working his notice, he'll be back in to carry on getting the paint off of it, as he's been doing a great job in it so far. So he'll carry on getting all the paint off of that, and once it's back to bare metal, then we'll start doing the welding on it. We have got another project behind here. We've got another TR7, which we won't go into this week. We'll do some separate videos on that project, but that's a full build. So we've got a lot going on at the moment. I can't think of anything else we've got this week. So hopefully next week we'll do some detailed videos on the engine build. So please look out for that, as that'll be a lot of nice, interesting information. So please like and subscribe, and we will see you next week.